Welcome to Royal History UK, where the past comes alive.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're peeling back the layers of a wildly recognizable, yet massively misunderstood cultural symbol. I mean, you've seen them, right? Tearing through tunnels, parked outside ridiculously high-end boutiques, and you've probably thought to yourself, well, they cost hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're just insanely fast. But we're about to discover why you're not actually paying for speed at all. No, you're paying for a meticulously crafted psychological tool.
So let's just jump right in and ask the obvious question. Why on earth does a Lamborghini cost so much? Because, look, while you might assume that staggering premium is all about, Italian heritage, top speed, and massive horsepower, you're actually missing the hidden mechanism entirely. The raw performance? That's really just a permission slip to charge the price. The actual product they're selling is something completely different.
The absolutely crucial point here is that you kind of have to completely flip your perspective. Lamborghini is not a car company. Seriously, not really. It is an exclusivity business. And once you reframe them as a business selling pure exclusivity rather than just vehicles, their staggering billion-dollar economics snap perfectly into focus. We're talking about a company hitting a return on sales of over 27%, settling at an incredibly robust 24% in 2025. For a traditional car manufacturer, those margins are, frankly, almost impossible to believe. But they make total sense when you realize they aren't competing with Toyota or Ford. They're competing with superyachts. They're competing with private aviation.
To really get how they reached this level, we have to look back at their wildly improbable origin story. Because this entire empire, it was essentially built on an accidental foundation of spite. Ferruccio Lamborghini wasn't some racing obsessive. He was a brilliantly successful tractor manufacturer who got very wealthy rebuilding post-war Italy. So he bought some Ferraris to celebrate. But, being a mechanical guy, he noticed the clutch in his super expensive Ferrari kept breaking. And when he actually took it apart, he realized it was the exact same commercial clutch he used in his heavy-duty farm equipment. He actually went directly to Enzo Ferrari to point this out, and Enzo arrogantly told him to, quote, stick to his tractors. Literally, that single dismissal lit a fire that birthed a billion-dollar brand.
Ferruccio immediately channeled his industrialist mindset to exact his revenge. In 1963, he capitalized on a walkout of Ferrari engineers and hired Giotto Bizzarini. The deal was brilliant. He paid a flat fee, plus a literal cash bonus for every 10 horsepower the engine produced over 350. By 1964, he launches the 350 GT, a perfectly civilized Grand Tour. But in 1966, that's when the world completely changed. His young engineers secretly built a chassis after hours that put the engine behind the driver. Ferruccio saw it and approved it on the spot. Clothed in this breathtaking bodywork, the Miura was born. It was a 174-mile-per-hour machine that essentially became the world's first modern supercar, and a permanently redefined automotive value.
The Miura's massive commercial success proved that radical design commands basically limitless premiums. It introduced us to a brilliant economic concept known as a Veblen good. Now, this is a commodity where demand actually increases as the price goes up. It's the exact opposite of how normal markets work. A Lamborghini becomes more desirable precisely because it is more expensive. That high price itself serves as a massive signal of exclusivity. It tells the buyer, and honestly everyone watching, that they've arrived at a tier of existence most people can literally only dream of.
To see how they manage that Veblen good status today, I want you to think about one specific number, 10,687. In 2024, Lamborghini celebrated a record-breaking year by delivering exactly that many vehicles globally. Now think about that. In a world of 8 billion people, artificially restricting deliveries to just over 10,000 units is a very deliberate policy decision. Scarcity is the actual product here. If they scaled up to produce millions of cars like a traditional automaker, they would instantly evaporate the psychological premium their ultra-wealthy buyers are paying for. Growing too much would literally destroy the brand. So there's this stark contrast between what we normally think a car does and what a Lamborghini does. A standard vehicle, right, it solves a logistical problem. It just moves you from point A to point B. But a Lamborghini, it solves a psychological problem. It's a mobile, kinetic announcement of financial achievement. You aren't buying transportation, you are buying a carbon fiber compression of your personal identity and success. Whether you're an elite athlete or a self-made entrepreneur, this vehicle renders your personal story in a physical, very loud form.
And to deliver that level of social validation, every single engineering decision is a deliberate, visceral marketing expense. It started back in the 70s with Marcello Gandini's aggressive, aerospace-inspired Countach design, which completely set their visual language. Take those famous scissor doors.
They didn't stay because they were somehow better doors. They stayed because they create an unmistakable visual event that literally freezes onlookers in their tracks. Then you add the acoustic irreplaceability of a naturally aspirated V12 engine screaming at 9,000 RPM, plus the incredibly labor-intensive hand-laid carbon fiber bodywork. Look, it is wildly expensive to manufacture cars this way, but they absolutely have to do it, because that pure spectacle is exactly what the customer is buying.
But here is the wild secret behind all of this. Engineering this kind of extreme drama almost bankrupted the company for decades. They bounced around between different owners until 1998, when the Volkswagen Group acquired them, and that provided the ultimate structural cheat code that saved Lamborghini. On one hand, VW brings shared platforms, massive R&D cost absorption, and strict German quality control. On the other hand, Lamborghini's engineers were suddenly freed up to spend their capital entirely on aggressive aesthetics, carbon fiber, V12 engines, and pure experiential drama. Basically, they borrow the highly reliable foundation and then build absolute Italian madness right on top of it. And this whole strategy builds up to their most financially spectacular maneuver, the limited editions. By modifying an existing shared platform, in this case the Aventador, they created the Veneno. They dressed it up in otherworldly carbon fiber and strictly capped production. The base price? Over $4 million. And a roadster version actually sold at auction later for $8.3 million. The actual engineering difference between a standard Aventura and a Veneno does not cost millions of dollars to produce. No, that massive premium, which converts directly into staggering profit margins, is fueled 100% by pure artificial scarcity.
But here's the kicker. You can't just walk into a dealership with $4 million and buy one. Nope. They monetize collector psychology by locking their ultra-wealthy clients into a strict VIP loyalty funnel. Step 1, you literally have to purchase multiple standard models just to get on their radar. Step 2, you gain confidential access to exclusive track events and factory tours. And only then, at Step 3, do you earn the allocation right, which is literally just the permission to buy one of their multi-million-dollar limited editions. The whole relationship is architected to keep high-net-worth individuals spinning in a highly profitable, continuous loop.
And they are absolutely maximizing profit on the standard models too. Get this, in 2025, a massive 94% of buyers utilize their ad personam customization program. We're talking about customers regularly adding 50 to 100,000 euros straight on top of the vehicle's base price, just for custom paint, unique interior materials, and exposed carbon fiber. The base vehicle is really just a structural canvas. The real margin lies in making every single car irreducibly, totally individual.
Okay, which brings us to the Urus SUV. Now, when this was announced, automotive purists cried ideological betrayal. They thought a practical 5-seater was going to completely dilute the brand's racing DNA. But actually, it was an absolute masterstroke. By leveraging a shared VW platform, they minimized their development risk, they scaled production from roughly 3,500 cars a year to over 10,000, and they expanded their demographic to affluent families who really wanted that status, but actually needed daily usability. The end result? They tripled revenue to over 3 billion euros, and they did it all while somehow maintaining that strictly controlled scarcity model. So, what about the future? Under the immense pressure of global electrification and tightening emission standards, Lamborghini launched their Direzione Core Tauri strategy. And make absolutely no mistake here, they are not using hybrid technology as some sort of environmental concession. They are using it as a pure performance amplifier. In models like the Revuelto and the new Temerario, the electrical systems exist for one reason: to enhance the combustion engine's drama, pushing total outputs well past 900 and even 1,000 horsepower. They aren't backing down, they're doubling down on the spectacle. Which really brings us to the ultimate existential threat, and honestly, a crucial question for you to consider about the future of this luxury institution. Battery technology is accelerating incredibly fast. Eventually, relatively affordable EVs are going to easily match or beat the 0 to 60 times of these multi-million-dollar machines. So when raw acceleration is totally democratized and cheap, what exactly is a Lamborghini buyer paying for? I mean, if the performance sheet can be beaten by a daily commuter EV, doesn't the brand just collapse?
The short answer is no, and here's exactly why. Even if a battery-powered daily driver beats it off the line, this brand will continue to thrive because, as we've seen, the performance was always just the permission slip. The true product is unobtainability. It's the highly engineered feeling of owning something the world is specifically designed to keep just out of reach. So the next time you see that crazy angular wedge shape cutting through traffic, ask yourself, are you just looking at a fast car, or are you looking at the most successful, precisely engineered psychological weapon on the planet? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning the true mechanics driving the world around you.